It's not an easy thing to step into Narita Airport in Japan and know you're leaving the best of what you were behind. You're heading back to, great America, where everything is wonderful. And we're the best. And nothing surpasses us. And if your government doesn't abide by what we like, well, we got the CIA. We got some covert operations. Yeah, we'll get in there. We're going to change it up. Now, Japan happens to be a success story because they, shortly after that, the big war, the big one, I think they call it the second. I don't know. There's a bunch of numbers. They need a bunch of numbers for them wars. But Japan kind of just took off and, put its people to work. Coughing just thinking about those underground Japanese bars in Seiseki Sakuragaoka, which is a suburb of Japan. That's where I learned, sitting in those bars at night, hanging out with my Japanese friends, learned they don't want to talk about Nagasaki. They don't want to talk about it. Or the other bomb. Where was that one? I think it was Hiroshima, right? I actually had a teacher that I taught with one of my English schools, and somehow she was one of those Rhodes Scholars chicks. I don't know what it takes to be a Rhodes Scholar, but I look back and well, holy fuck, Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar, and look what we got from that. We got smoking cigars in the fucking Oval Office with Monica what's her name? Lewinsky. Yeah, smoking cigars. So I'm not sure that being a Rhodes Scholar is a good thing, but anyway, so we're over there living in Japan, and so I'm reminiscing. I'm sitting in the airport at Narita, waiting to go home to, oh, America, the beautiful. Yeah, I got a song for that. Yeah, especially after I got home and realized everybody was fat and ugly compared to Japanese people. But anyway, so Allison is not a co-teacher. She was another American that had been over there. And so all of us English teachers over there at Mike's English School, how did you say that in Japanese? Mike, Aquan, fuck, I don't remember. I learned a lot of Japanese while I was there. But anyway, so Allison, somehow, because she's a Rhodes Scholar, and probably the only one in Japan teaching English, and Mike has English schools Mike. His fucking name is Mike. He's a Japanese guy. And so he calls himself Mike. So he's a big time, this is coming up through the 80s when, the Japanese stock market was on fire. It was before, it got cut down to 10%, which by the time I got there, it was, the economy was collapsing and so on and so forth. But, everybody's got savings and nobody's willing to, admit, we're fucked. But anyway, so we're over there. And Allison, great woman, very smart, somewhat attractive, red hair and freckles, probably Irish or Scottish, I don't know. But she gets invited down there on Hiroshima Day, the day the bombs were dropped. And she gives a speech at Hiroshima to a large crowd of Japanese people. Now, I remember thinking to myself, I had just come from America, suffered through school, putting myself through school, and working as a carpenter or a stagehand or a bathroom cleaner on campus. I was what do they call them, janitors. You have to go in and clean up for the fat people that they sit down and they can't point in the right direction. They shoot shit all over the fucking toilet and the walls. And so I remember, as at that age, I was thinking, God damn, what the fuck? I mean, how hard is it to fucking put the shit in the toilet instead of all over the toilet and all over the walls? Well, later on in life, I got fat for a while. Not because I'm lazy. I got cancer and I had to lay around for about 5 years. And I got fat. And then I realized you get fat enough, you can't even wipe your own ass. You can't reach it, man. You got to get like a special attachment, put some toilet paper, and then you get down there and you just hope there's some wiping going on. I mean, this is the way it works. But it was just a job. I had all kinds of jobs, but then I get over to Japan after having all these jobs where you're treated like shit. You're treated like some menial second-class moron, even though I had a degree in physics and degrees in physics and math, and but didn't have a job. I did work for the Navy for a while. I worked at Naval Ocean Systems Center, and down on Point Loma in San Diego, and I wasn't smart enough. I got in there, and so what they did is they put me in the basement, and they said, "Hey, learn the Microsoft code." So that's what I did. I went down there and learned the Microsoft code. For I guess it was 6 or 8 months. How long's a year? No, 9 months, I guess. School year. And so I wasn't a dummy, but I wasn't smart enough to work upstairs where all the smart people work. And that's okay. You don't need to be the smartest guy in the room. You can still have a good life just being okay. I mean, God damn it, I wish I would have been a fireman or a policeman or something. I mean, not that there aren't brilliant people on those forces. I mean, that could have been great science, And this, I'm sorry if I'm sounding bigoted or racist. It isn't meant that way. But I sure wish I would have been a fireman. Oh, man. A lot of my friends I grew up with were firemen. So where were we? We were talking about I was leaving Japan. I mean, I can reminisce about Japan, all, karaoke bars, learned to sing while I was over there. Used to do summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Now, I used to do that with a friend of mine named Ed, and we'd do it individually a lot, but the customers would ask us to do it together, and one of us would do the normal summertime and the living is easy, and then the other guy would go summertime and the living is easy. Now, I can't do it anymore. It's 30 years later. I ain't got no voice now. But, just another great experience about, living abroad and, interacting with other people. I mean, it's fantastic. America, fantastic. Okay, melting pot, blah, 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 blah. But, you don't get the real cultural experiences until you get the fucking plane ticket and get your passport updated, get on the fucking plane and go there and live with them. Okay? Yeah, all these people in there. Oh, we're such a multicultural, society. Well, fuck that. Everybody is fucking homogenized here. It's homogenization. It's fucked us all. There's no real living, no smiling, no true laughing. It's no appreciation of all those fantastic things that make people different. God damn. I feel sorry for people who haven't had the opportunity to travel. Now, I grew up a poor child. I grew up a poor black child. It's an old Richard. No, it's an old. What was his name? What was that comedian's name? George Carlin. Yeah, George Carlin used to do that. I grew up a poor black child. Yeah, so it was a funny line. I don't know if you could say it anymore, although I am saying it right now. But I did. I grew up a poor black child. Uh, a number of years when I was a kid, my great grandparents had bought this chunk of land in a suburb of San Bernardino. It's like 7 acres or whatever. And they went out there, middle of fucking nowhere, and they built a bunch of houses and a duplex. And there was nothing there. Nothing fucking there. And, they're like, okay, we're living in the country. I mean, it was squalid. I mean, there were poor people, right? I grew up, they were poor. But they managed to do this at that point in time. And then the government came in and surrounded them with, surrounded like fucking, an army, surrounds a stronghold. And you can't escape, and put in all this low budget public housing. And all the wrong kind of people moved in. I mean, there was right outside of our fence, about 200 yards from my house where the fence was, there was this 2-story apartment building. And it had a stairway that went from, of course, one floor to the next floor. And it was only 2 stories. So you can imagine how that works. It went from the ground to the 2nd story. Well, one night some kids lit that on fire. And, for the next, I don't know, couple years or whatever that I was living there, and I'm young, I'm only like 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. At the first time we lived there, I lived there a couple years later in life. Them fuckers put up a ladder. They put up a ladder going from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor. And that's how they got into their house. Now, I tell people that, and they're like, no fucking way. Well, I'm telling you, I sat there on my little tricycle almost every day, looking over there and watching them people go up and down the ladder. That's a true story. Oh boy. And my grandma was over there tending the tomatoes. And what else did she grow over there? I think there was some spinach or something. Tomatoes were big though. We had tomatoes. I remember eating lots of tomatoes. And then we were on welfare. So welfare, it seems, to my recollection that, back in San Bernardino, back in the early 60s, I guess it was, when was I first there? So I was kind of born, I was born in San Pedro on a boat because my dad was in the Navy. But then I think we got up there, 61, 62, 63, whatever. And yeah, guess that's the way it works. So from the time I was whatever, we're getting welfare because we're poor. We're living in one of the little tiny houses that my great grandparents built. Mom's got no income. It's just me and Mom in the house out there. And it seemed like the people that handed out the food to the poor people like us, all they had was macaroni and cheese. So like for the first 4 years or so I was alive, I either sucked on a tit or I got macaroni and cheese. And you can imagine which I preferred. And I still prefer that, even now. Not the macaroni and cheese, okay? So anyway, finally got out of there. And we moved. We moved over And literally, you hear this all the time, the wrong side of the tracks. We were on the wrong side of the tracks because there were people who used ladders to get into their houses. And there was some other bad shit going down. Thank God we had that big old fence with the barbed wire on it. Although my little buddy Eddie lived over there, and we dug a hole under the fence so Eddie could come over and hang out. And we'd take the BB guns, the pellet guns, and we'd go out and destroy birds. And we'd eat them though. Eddie and I were not wasteful. Even at that young age, we were, bird ecologists. It's like if you shoot it, you got to eat it. And I sure wish we would have had some charcoals back then, because those suckers, they don't taste right when you don't cook them. It's just, especially the heads. I mean, the heads, oh, God damn it. But, waste not, want not. I mean, that's what we always heard. And I came from a poor family, and Eddie came from a poor family. He had to crawl under the fence just to hang out with somebody that was as poor as him. So, that's what we did. I eventually got out of that neighborhood and moved literally across the tracks. There were tracks, railroad tracks, which my older brother ended up driving a train on for 39 years. And who knew, just amazing shit. And so in the next installment of this, I don't know, what are we going to call this? The misadventures, the inappropriateness of a poor childhood, I don't know what the fuck to call it. But when we come back, I'm going to take you across the railroad tracks. I'm going to tell you about from year 4 to year 11. Because that was an amazing time.